Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to add a partial light effect to a face using the Color Therapy app. The best way to do this is to color the image in dark tones and then highlight them in one area that you want the light to stream in. This creates a mysterious cinematic look. If you're following along and want to find the image I'm using, go under the Classic tab and select People, and then you want to scroll down to Ponytail Hairstyles and you'll find it in there. Okay, so let's begin by choosing our colors. So open up the color palette and then go under dark shades and then set it to gradient and choose a dark black to gray gradient. And then under the classic palette, choose a gradient beige purple for the lips. And then in the basic palette, choose a black and then a light blue. And then one last color under shades and then scroll to vintage. And under gradient, there's sort of a grayish to beige color. So now what we're going to do is just tap to fill in all the dark colors first, then we'll add the shading and highlights. So for the face, I'm going to select that beige and gray color, and I'll set that to a radial gradient and just tap to fill in the face. And then the hair is going to be that dark black and bluish gray gradient. I'm going to set that from dark to light. And just tap to fill in all the hair, as well as the background. I'll also just tap to fill in her neck, and then I'll make her shirt black, and then her lips with that beige and burgundy color. And you also want to add the details into the eyelashes, the nose, and the ears, so that when you remove the lines later, it'll show up. Okay, now what we need to do is add shading on the hair and the face. So I'm going to decide that the light is going to be streaming down from the top left corner and then just streaming across her face downward into the bottom right corner. So I want to shade everything else. So I'm going to make all of her hair and also her face up here and her chin darker. So using black, I'm going to select the manual mode and I'm going to lower the opacity to 50%. And then I'm going to raise the size to 80%. Now with coloring inside the lines mode set to on, I'm just going to start to add shading into the tips of the hair here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just making it a lot darker. And just leaving this area fairly lighter than everything else. And then carefully just start adding a shadow on her forehead and chin and then over the ear as well. And it's also good to sample a color that you're using elsewhere, such as in the hair. I'm going to use that sort of a bluish color and add a shadow with that color as well. Okay, so now it's time to add in that mysterious light. So under the manual mode, using airbrush, raise that to 100 opacity as well as 100 size. And you want to have coloring inside the lines mode 2 off. And you're going to start in that top left corner and just bring a stroke all the way down across her face into the other corner. And you can continue to add a few more, as many as you'd like. And you can make that top area just a little bit brighter there. You can make it a little wider too. And then down at the bottom right, you can add a few dots here and there so it looks like there's particles. And you can also sample a color, another lighter color, such as on her face, and then lower the opacity just a little bit, probably about to 60%, and add some more of the strokes just all the way across. If you want to add some more particles to it, just select that spray tool. You can either use that beige or the blue, and you just need to hold the pencil or your finger down a little bit. And you'll just add a little spray here and there, and that'll just add some particles. And you can kind of add it in other areas of the background too, if you'd like. You can also manually add in some particles. So under the manual mode, switch back to airbrush and then raise the opacity 100, lower to 0. And using those same colors, the bright blue and the beige, you can just add little bits of dots and little shapes here and there. So just pieces of dust sort of like floating around. And then you also want to highlight some of the hair. So zoom into that hair there. And with those same settings and using the blue, just add little strokes of bright light into the hair. So it's just shining on that hair really bright and just sort of highlighting some strands. And I'm going with the curve of those hair. So with those lines of the hair there. And this is just in a few areas, and some of them are going to be short, and some of them are medium short. You also want to add in some brighter, thicker strokes. So in the manual mode, just raise it to 20% and select coloring inside the lines mode. Turn that to on and then add in just a few thicker, brighter strokes in the hair, just right over where we added those highlights. So now it starts to blend in a little bit. And you can add it into the bangs here as well as some of the bangs over here too. So just continue adding details until you've reached the desired realism. And finally, go under the effects tab and under lines, remove them, and you're done. You can also accomplish this with warm tones and lights in the same way. Remember that choosing the right image will also aid in the mystery and tone of the piece. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.